I'm asked a lot about follow-up frequency. How often should I do this? When should I follow up? What should I do? What should I do? I think it's probably one of the top three questions that I'm asked in my world in sales mentoring and training. And while it is impossible for me to answer because I don't know the nature of the relationship, I don't necessarily know the product they're trying to sell. What I've done here is put a framework together to try and help answer that question for all of you. The first thing you need to do is pick the follow-up life cycle. So I've just mentioned that mine is 3 months, but the process of doing this for you has 4 different unique sections. Are they a high value client or contact? Are they in your client ideal persona? Have you high degree of confidence that they are absolutely the decision maker? And do you really need the business? So if you can look at those 4 criteria, you can work out whether you want to put them in a 3-month cycle or whether you're happy to put them in a 6-month cycle. It might be that you just want to give them 2 or 3 follow-ups here and you're actually happy because you're not quite sure if they're ideal or not. You're not quite sure if they're the decision maker. You may actually decide to actually elongate the follow-up to 6 months or 12 months. So firstly, find out what follow-up cycle suits that client. It doesn't have to be formal. It can be as informal as a task. When you're using your CRM, you go in, anecdotally, you're just not sure. You don't need a lot of business. You're not sure if the right person. You're not sure on client ideal persona. You call them once, you email them once, you send them a text or a video, and then you're like, you know what? I'm just going to leave that for 3 to 6 months. You may actually not even follow that up too much. Working out your own follow-up is quite important because you want to spend your time well, and following up the wrong people too frequently. And so you can only do that when you're really clear on the ideal client persona, you're clear on the value of that client. I also think it's really important just to be honest with yourself and really look at your workload. And it might be that you can never commit to a sales cycle follow-up of 3 months. It might be that that's so unrealistic for you. Or you might be of the opinion that you're loath to ever follow anyone up after anything less than 8 weeks. I personally have found mine, and I'm going to talk to you in the next slide about what a 3-month follow-up cycle looks like for me. The second thing to keep in mind with any kind of follow-up frequency of contact for a cold prospect is to use as many different channels as you can. So some people frown upon talking to clients via Instagram. However, if you're in a designer role or you're working for an architect or you're working in a really creative industry, Insta is the only way. LinkedIn would be possibly frowned upon. So it's all about picking the channel that works for your industry. I would also add though that some of the channels that you would never use a few years ago, you would never contact someone on Facebook a few years ago, are being used now. And so TikTok, when TikTok came out, it was for children to start with, and now it's absolutely looked at a thought leadership platform. And look, you may frown upon that, and everyone is completely different, but it is about trialing new things. So picking as many variety of, or as much variety of the channel of follow-up is also going to be really critical for your results. The other thing with follow-up is prioritization and potentially delegation. So let's ideally look at something, you're doing a campaign, you're looking at the follow-up, you're tiering who's following up. You don't need, once you've done the first 2 or 3 reach outs, you don't need to be the one that follows them up. You can absolutely pass that to a member of staff that doesn't have a high hourly rate like you do, or you can pass that, again, as I said, into the digital marketing funnel of your email marketing. You don't have to follow up absolutely everything. What I'm saying though is that if you don't follow up and they don't follow up and no one follows up, you've just wasted all of that time to start with. So if you're going to make the effort to cold call someone, if you're going to make the effort to do your research and prospect someone, if you're going to make the effort to have a meeting with them or send them a proposal, it can never leave your funnel. And I'm not saying that you have to, constantly go over and over and over again like a washing machine. You just delegate the follow-up, or you put it in a campaign.